Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game 40 of the Real Racquetball Show. Appreciate your joining us. Maurice Miller, myself, on Game 40. Maurice, how are you?
Doing all right, Mike. How's it going with yourself, man?
It's going all right. Very busy. A lot of things happening right now with racquetball. Events coming up, things going. It just really seems to be a lot of local tournaments happening right now. You can usually tell by the number of emails being sent out. And between Connor and I, we're approving, 5, 6 of them a day now that are being sent out. So that's pretty exciting.
Good. Yeah. So you hit a court anytime soon, Mike?
Excuse me?
Other than last week, you hit week before. No, 2.5 weeks ago. You hit a court again?
Not yet. But I will.
That's fine.
I will. It's on my calendar. I'm going to go Wednesday.
Did it? I got to check on my partner for Vegas.
There you go. Yeah. I'm working on it. And I've really got to get out and play some outdoor. It's been so long since I've done that I'm going to have to get out and hit some outdoor courts as soon as it warms up a little bit. I think it was yesterday. It was 38 degrees most all day yesterday. So I'm going to wait a little bit.
It was 80 here. It's 80. That's no.
All right. Well, everybody, please like the feed, share it. We appreciate those that watch it live. If you do, make a comment, ask a question, and if we can, we'll get to it. I can't promise we'll be able to get to all of them. The last couple of shows, we've had a lot of people engaging on the comments and chats, and we really appreciate everybody that tunes in and watches live. But if you're watching this recorded, we really appreciate your time in doing so. All right, let's jump right in. We're going to start off with the Pan Am Championships just wrapped up, and there's a lot of social media about that. The streaming and the viewing. There was a really exciting championship, and Team USA came out and did pretty well. Placed in pretty much all of the divisions and such. But we have two really special guests that just arrived home. I believe might even been this morning, 12:30 this morning. They arrived back on the U.S. soil, and they've are going to join us. We have brothers Jake and Sam Bredenbach. Jake, Sam, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you guys taking time after all the travel and coming on the show and chat with us about the Pan Am Championships. So
thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, for those that don't know that are watching the show, the team consisted of Alex Landa, Jake and Sam with the men's, Rhonda, Kehlani, and Erica made up the women's side of the team. And that was the delegation that went to Bolivia. And they were there for 10 or 11 days competing in qualifying. I call it qualifying, but I don't think that's actually what they call it when it's more of a seeding process early in the tournament, which is kind of unique for racquetball tournaments. International tournaments do that a lot, but they have a kind of a seeding qualifying. You spent several days competing in that. So what's that first few days when you were there trying to get your, I guess the travel part of it out of your system and get your feet on the ground, and then to compete for the seeding portion of it? What's that like different as opposed to like competing at the U.S. Open or national doubles or something like that, where they pretty much seed it all up and then you just qualify and play? Jake, you played in several of those. Is that different? What's that like?
Yeah, it's a little different. I mean, you somewhat have your seeding based on previous years anyway. And that's how they set you up in your, call it pool play. So it's it's a little round robin tournament, and then based on how you do on that sets you up in the straight draw. It's different in the sense that you don't just show up and play a straight draw, but it's not really different in the sense that you still have to show up and play, and the goal is to win every match. So I guess being that I've played a few international tournaments and I know what to expect, it's not anything different for me. Maybe Sam, maybe Sam felt different being that it was his first time, but yeah, you still have to show up and win every match.
Yeah.
So Sam, like Jake said, being that it's your first time, how did it feel? One, making it to the team, and two, for me, this is what I would want. How did it feel playing with your brother, bro, in double? Like, how did that feel?
Well, first part of the question, playing for my first time on the adult team, it was, I mean, to me, and I know Jake said this multiple times, but it's the highest honor you can have playing in racquetball, to play for your country and represent and play for our delegation and try and compete and win a gold medal. So that experience was surreal just to begin with, but to be able to do it with Jake made it probably the most special thing that I've been able to do in racquetball. And I know he said that today on one of his posts, but I couldn't have said it better. I mean, to be able to travel together and room together and compete together and be on the team and experience all of that for, 10, 12 days, whatever it was, that's pretty special.
That's really neat. It's neat that you guys get to do that together. It's great to have teammates, but being related and brothers, that's a different level of teammates. So that's neat. So the whole process, it's a lot of days of playing, and you probably play pretty much every day with playing singles and doubles in somewhere or another, don't you? How many days off while you were there? How many days did you have where you didn't compete?
I personally had one day because obviously only played doubles, but for singles and doubles, they were playing every day.
Every day. Wow. That's tough. You got to be in pretty good shape to get on there and compete that long. And most tournaments, certainly the ones, the IRT and those kind of deals, are 3 days. Some of them are 4 days. So what's the sense and what's the difference? How do you prepare for a tournament that's that many days long and you compete pretty much every day? Jake, you've been doing that for quite a while. Do you train different for that, or is it all the same? You're in shape and you just go do it.
Yeah, it's more of a mental shift than anything. You just, going down there that you have basically 2 days of practice before, and then, if you're doing what you're supposed to, you got 7 to 8 days straight of playing. Every once in a while, you'll get an off day between, certain events or whatever. Like Sam said, if you're only playing one, then depends on your pool play or whatever. But you go with the mentality that it's going to be a long week, and you just got to do the best you can to stay hydrated, eat well, get the rest, recover. Recovery is obviously a key in anything, but I'd say it's definitely more important there, just because it's 7-8 days straight of racquetball. So yeah, it gets to be a lot, that's for sure. But training is kind of the same. You just keep working and doing what you can to be ready.
So, all right, I got a question for either one. Both of y'all can answer. Being as that it was now rally scoring, did you two feel a difference in I guess, because they tried to change, I guess, for like time or how long a match might take or pace of play. Did you two feel a difference in how a match felt or how long the match would have taken?
Yeah, for me, it's a huge shift in the way that we play traditionally, on the IRT, or the way that we've played traditionally pretty much our entire lives. And I can only speak, I've practiced in singles, but I can only speak from a competitive standpoint in doubles. There's constant points from the very first point. Every single point matters. I don't think I've ever seen in a tournament, I don't think I've ever seen more 15-14 games than we did last week. And overall, it just kind of makes things more intense, especially when you get into like the 10 to 14 point range. Everything is very tight. Overall, time wise, I think it actually probably took longer than a normal match. A majority of them, at least starting, they ended up changing the format later on, or the total points later on. But yeah, overall, it was a huge shift.
Huh.
Yeah, I second that. It was an adjustment, and there were good things at first. I think a lot of the athletes didn't like it because it's different, and it's a change from what we're used to. There were definitely good things though. Like Sam said, there were a lot of 15-13, 15-14 games. Every point matters. So I think the intensity was higher, which is kind of strange for our sport because it's already high. So that was good. I think there were some not so good things like bad calls by a ref, lucky shots, stuff like that matter that much more now.
Right.
And I think it was, and I'll speak for myself though. I did speak, we talk as athletes being there, but just speaking for me, the change to 3 out of 5 to 11 during team competition was an incredibly poor choice. It just, I mean, you have the final in team competition between two phenomenal players in Moscoso and Montoya taking 24 minutes. I get their goal is to shorten the matches, but to me, that's a little ridiculous. It kind of takes away from it. It's like we had many conversations where, a 12-set lead used to be a good lead in straight scoring, and now it's not, because especially in doubles, you get one side out, both people get to serve, etc. So, there's positives and negatives like anything, but overall, the 3 out of 5 to 15, I think it went pretty well. But again, like Sam said, with their goal being shorter matches, overall, on an average, I don't think it was any shorter at all. You're not going to have the 2-hour matches like you might now, but an average good match is still an hour and 15 to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. And I was really intrigued when they changed the scoring for the team competition, what that would do, because that really seems to shorten up. And like you said, a 20-minute match or 24-minute match in the finals like that's short. So I think this is the first real tournament that they've applied that to. So it'll be interesting. I would hope they'll go back and evaluate it and make some decisions on how they move forward with it. But that's interesting. Good. It's good to get real life experience and then get feedback from that. And I hope they ask. I would assume that the folks running the tournament were around and were asking questions and trying to get feedback on how this was working, to see if it changes going forward or stays the same, or what happens with it.
You said no?
They weren't. Even with switching to rally scoring, my understanding as a player is they basically kept track of scoring at Worlds in a couple matches, and just said, okay, they took a vote from, delegates and whatever, but that was their decision-making process instead of running testing. They have all these countries that they can ask to do testing and take video, and they just made the decision and said, this is how it's going to be. And then same at this tournament, it was 3 out of 5, and then there was discussion because they didn't like how long it was taking and whatever as to if they were going to change it, and then it was just decided to change. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Hopefully we get some feedback on how that went from their perspective, and it's great to hear you guys talk about how it applied in reality and what the athlete's perspective was on it. So that's neat. Well, tell us a little bit about the two things. Sam, a little bit about the experience there, not just the racquetball part, but the travel, how, getting to and from the venue, what the venue was like. Tell us a little bit about your experience of competing on Team USA, but more of, I guess, as a tourist perspective of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It went pretty smooth from my experience. The shuttle wasn't too bad. It was maybe 25, 30 minutes away from the club each way. So that wasn't too bad. And the club was about as nice as I've been able to compete at. I mean, I competed in juniors, and I would probably say this is the nicest international club that I was able to compete at in terms of the condition of the courts. They had two really cool show courts that were sharing a front wall, air-conditioned courts, kind of that open air feel, which a lot of the international courts I've played at have that. But yeah, it was a cool venue. It was cool that Jake and I were able to get there a day earlier because we were able to kind of acclimate, and also Coco Keller lives there and Kadeem was there. So they're from there. So they brought us out to dinner and we got to see a little bit of the city and stuff like that. So just being able to share that experience with him and those guys, that was a lot of fun.
Oh, neat. Yeah, it's good to have somebody that knows the land to take you out, to just go wandering around. So then in Bolivia, and I've never been to Bolivia, so I don't know anything about the weather. Jake, what was the weather like? And getting to, like Sam said, this restaurant, is it a congestion, traffic? I don't know how big a city this was held in.
Yeah, I don't know as far as population what it is. Overall, like Sam said, it was pretty good as far as international tournaments go. The shuttle was on time, which definitely doesn't always happen. 25 to 30 minutes is pretty nice considering, in Peru in 2019, it was minimum an hour and a half. Stuff like that was good. Like Sam said, the courts were pretty nice, air conditioned, which helps because the weather was, at least the first week, it was hot and humid, very, very humid. So coming out of the court wasn't very pleasant. Sitting and watching wasn't very pleasant. But it rained one day and then kind of cooled down, which was nice. And then it's kind of like here, like there's times of rush hour where there's a little bit more traffic and it takes a little longer, and times where it's not bad at all. So, yeah, it was overall pretty good experience. Traveling down there is a long flight.
How long is the flight?
From Miami, it's about 6.5, 7 hours. So
it's a long time to sit in a chair.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was a good trip overall for sure.
Good. Well, before we go, we're running into time. Give each of you a chance. Sam, we'll start with you. Kind of a parting words, or their sponsors, anybody you want to thank for the opportunity and the chance to go and all that kind of good stuff. What's your final thoughts on the championship?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, just being able to play with Jake and be on the team that we were with Jim as the coach, it was an amazing experience. Obviously, most people know our sponsors by now, Forza and Beastmade, so obviously have to shout them out. But the biggest thank you is to the people that came together that donated to make this possible for us, because otherwise we wouldn't have even been able to go. And that was a possibility at one point where we weren't going to be able to bring a delegation. So the biggest thank you goes out to every single person, whether it was $1 or we know more, obviously. Thank you to every single person that made that possible for us.
Yeah, and it's something that we work hard to get to try and help people understand that a sport the size of ours and the way the organization operates through memberships and such, that these type of things just don't happen without support from people outside of the athletes and the organization itself. So we really appreciate your thanking them, because they understand that this doesn't happen without the support of those people outside it. So it was great for them to rally up and make this happen. So Jake, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, kind of to echo what he said, most people know our personal sponsors. I got to thank Head obviously for the equipment, but just to echo what he said, the way the community came together to help with the funding of this trip was pretty awesome. I know Randy Root played a big part in it, but like Sam said, every the athletes talked behind the scenes to try and make things work, et cetera, et cetera. So the way we as athletes came together to make it happen was pretty awesome. But it really doesn't happen without all the people helping us out. And yeah, it was probably a little bit more of a special, not just because Sam and I got to play together. Like he said, that was definitely my most special moment or event in racquetball, but just as a team as a whole, us being able to go because of the way it happened was pretty special as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I applaud everyone that donated to make this happen. We really appreciate it. Otherwise, it would have been a huge miss for Team USA not to go and compete and show up, and you guys represent Team USA very well. We really appreciate everything you guys do, the training, practice, the work, the effort, all of that. Hats off. Thank you.
Echoing what Mike said, I've competed against you guys. It's always been a battle, but the way you two performed in Bolivia I was happy to say, hey, those are guys that are representing us. You two played tough. There was a couple victories in there that on paper it'd say y'all couldn't win, but y'all fought down and won it. Can't wait to see y'all compete at national doubles. Hope you two take it, because I would love to see y'all compete again, because for me, as a person watching athlete represent USA, you two were fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for making sure the money people spent and donated was put to good use, and congrats on medaling.
Thank you.
It was great. It was great seeing all the pictures, the blogs that the coach put out, and all the pictures of everyone was phenomenal. There's a great picture right there. Trophies and medals and a flag. I don't know how it gets any better than that.
Yeah.
Gold medal.
Obviously, sorry. Yeah, we went down for gold, which sucks to not come home with, but everyone's good that plays down there, so it's a battle every match, and it's just who's ever better that day. And I mean, it's pretty cool to get a medal. Not everyone does, but we're definitely the goal is to bring home gold. So hopefully next time we can do that.
Yeah, and that's why we play them. It was. We're very proud of the team. Absolutely. We know the goal's always gold, and you're always disappointed when you don't make that. But hey, you guys did a phenomenal job. So congrats, and we will let you guys go. Thank you again for coming on the show and talking about your experience. And we all look forward to watching you compete again in College Station, Texas, here real soon.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right.
Peace, guys.
Bye.
Jake. Good guys. Really love that.
Absolutely. I mean, exemplary. Like I said, I've competed against them.
Yeah.
I want to say more than once, but I'm kind of upset because at the end I was going to interrupt. I want to know, in their opinion, which one hits harder. That's what I want to know, because I've been on the court and it's photons no matter what you do on both sides. But that's another time. I'll ask them next time I see you. Yeah.
It'd be tough to pick. I'd lean towards Jake. Boy, he's one of the hardest hitters in the game.
Sam, I got money on Sam.
Yeah, Sam says it's him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I got money. Like, they both know I love both of them to death. Like they cool. I got money on Sam.
Maybe we'll have to get a radar gun and see if we can figure that out.
For real, like they both, man, they hit the ball so freaking hard.
They do.
Yeah.
It's great. For me, I love that style of racquetball. That's one of the things I love watching Jake and Sam both play. They just play really hard. It's a lot of fun. We got a message from Coach Jim Durham, and Jim says Sam serves harder.
I can see that. Yeah, he was serving to me. I had a couple backhands that just went to the floor.
Yeah. Jake chimed in and says that Sam's serve is harder, but he hits harder in the rally.
I can see that too. I'm not mad at that.
Can't argue that.
Don't you see? That's why I'm like, I got it.
Yeah.
I see that.
It's great. They're two of my favorite players to watch because they just play with so much passion and heart. that I just love that on the court. All right. Let's chat just a little bit about the upcoming, since we're talking about the team qualifying. National doubles and singles combined, as we've told everybody before, May 25th through the 29th. We want everybody to come and join us in College Station, Texas for the national championship singles and doubles team qualifying. We also have at that same event, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We are going to induct the two new Hall of Fame inductees and one from last year that did not get inducted in the last ceremony. So we're going to induct 3 new individuals into the Hall of Fame. So get your plans made, get your flights. If you're close by, if you're living in Texas, get signed up, drive over to College Station. It's a beautiful venue. We want to have everybody there to compete. Next to that, we have the Junior National Championships, June 22nd through the 26th in Des Moines, Iowa. We want all the juniors to rally up and come to Des Moines. We're going to have some special things we're going to put on. We're looking to get a couple of the U.S. team members to come down and do an exhibition, a clinic, and also give some speeches during the award ceremonies. So all the juniors can make plans to get to Des Moines. Neat place. Save the date. You probably saw that out. We put the save the date notice out today for the U.S. Open, Minneapolis, Minnesota, September 28th through the October the 2nd. Mark your calendars, put it down, block it off, come to Minneapolis. We have a lot more details to come out over the next few weeks, but it'll be in Minneapolis, September 28th through October 2nd. So save that date, mark it off your calendar. Couple outdoor events. Maurice, you want to talk about the 2 outdoor events coming up?
See, we've got outdoor coming up July. Is it 14th through the 17th?
July 14th through the 17th.
Huntington Beach, California.
Yep.
Never been. I know you went last year, yes? Was it maybe?
I did, yeah. I went to the Huntington Beach. Neat venue. That was really a cool place to go. So if you get a chance to go, it's worthwhile.
And then we've got 3-wall ball that you and me are supposed to be playing in. What's the date? So I know it's October, right? End of October?
October 26th through the 30th.
Yes. Mike and I should be playing.
Nevada.
It's going to be one of those exhibition matches. It's a real match, but it's going to just be exhibition because we're going to be playing for real, but I don't play outdoor at all.
I don't either.
So it's going to be a blast to see what happens. But come out. I know I haven't been to an official, like I've been to the one in Virginia, Stratton Woods, which is a fantastic event, but I haven't been to one of like the national ones. So hopefully Vegas, because I think, US Open and out Vegas are like a couple weeks apart. So that should be easier to come out to for me. If you've never been, I've heard nothing but good things about both tournaments. They're both for it's like the IRT Cup, I think, the same way the LPRT was. The men can win stuff too, but so are the women too. Yep. It should be a blast to see.
Yeah, it really is. They're both great events. I've been to both Huntington Beach and Vegas, and they're a lot of fun. It's a different environment, so everybody that is interested in outdoor at all, if you've never played, it's worth going out for. It's an experience. And Huntington Beach, California, and Las Vegas, I mean, they're great locations to go visit, take the family and vacation. We have one other event coming up that we really are you're going to see a lot of information about. I've started to see some television advertisement about the World Games coming up. They're in Birmingham, Alabama, so they're in the U.S. this year. USA Racquetball is moving our glass court to Birmingham. We're setting it up, and all of the racquetball will be played on that one court. Because for racquetball portion of the World Games, all they're playing is singles, and they qualified 15 players. So the U.S. has 2 men and 2 women going to compete, and it's all singles, all played on our glass court, and we're going to showcase this court to the world in Birmingham, Alabama. So they're looking for volunteers to help with some of the game operations for racquetball. So if you're interested at all, reach out to either myself or Renee, and we'll put you in touch with Bob Frazier. He's the local operating gentleman that he's kind of coordinating all of the volunteers for the racquetball. Racquetball play is July 8th through the 13th. The games themselves are a little bit different. They go a little longer now. They're like 7th through the 17th, I think is what it is. But kind of keep an eye on it. A lot of sports play in this, and they're not always the sports that you see on like the Olympics and the Pan Ams, those type of things. You'll see some really interesting sports come out and play in the World Games. A lot of publicity about it. This is a really huge event to come on U.S. soil. So keep an eye out. There's a lot of information coming out about it. You can do a search for World Games, Birmingham, World Games 2022. It's going to be a really fun event. You'll be able to watch it. They'll stream all of it. So since it's all being played on one court, I think you'll probably be able to see pretty much every match there is, which should really be great. So, all right, Maurice, that's all I have for the show. A lot of fun. Loved having Jake and Sam on.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. There's a lot of information on the website. The newsletter came out. A lot of really, really good content coming out about the championships. So I hope everybody finds that. We've got a lot of emails and information coming out about the double, singles, and juniors. And over the next few weeks, you'll see a lot of information about the U.S. Open coming out.
Yep.
All right. I think we're good. Anything else you got to add, Maurice, before we wrap up?
Yeah, everybody like and share the feed. Send your real racquetball champion nomination to Shane at usaracquetball.com.
Yep.
Everybody, Mike, we got to congratulate Connor for winning doubles with Kobe Iwasa. They won doubles. Who did they beat in the final? I don't even remember. But
I don't know.
They got knocked out in teams, but hey, congrats, Connor. Everybody send emails to Connor, thank him, blast his Facebook wall. I gotta send him a text when we get done too. That's all.
There you go.
But no, seriously though, everybody send your nominations, like and share the feed. Try to get someone to play racquetball, whether it's telling them about it, getting them on the court, showing them a video, whatever you want to do. Post your pictures on Facebook about it. Reach one, teach one, whatever you want to do. That's all I got for me, Mike. What about you?
It is truly the only way we grow this sport is if the players get new players on. Teach a new player how to play, bring them on the court, and we will grow the sport. All right?
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank Stuart and Renee for running the show in the back, and we really appreciate everybody taking time to watch. All right? Everybody have a good time. Get on the court.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.